Welcome, sixth graders. You are on task number 2 of the Skimmer. And so for this, you are going to complete a design brief, which is basically like a project document that will kind of go over all of the details. So if you are being hired by a company, a design brief is going to outline who is it for, what are you doing, what are the specifics that need to be completed, all of the details. So to do this design brief, you're going to go to your design notebook, task number 2, and your essential question that you need to answer, and you may need to wait until you go through it on your own, but what's the purpose of a design brief? So you'll answer that question in here, and then you're going to fill in all of these sections on the right hand side, and in order to answer them, you're going to click on this design brief document here. So click this, and you're going to be jumping back and forth between the two documents, between these slides here and then answering these questions. So we have to know who is the client, who is the designer, along with all of the rest of them here. So to go through it, you can just skim through a design brief, and this can help you with your essential question for today. One way to define the problem is through the use of a design brief. This document, no more than a page, identifies the client, clearly states his or her problem or need, details the degree to which the engineer will carry out the solution, and lists the rules and limits within which the engineer must perform. And so here's an example of a design brief. We're going to go over each of these parts to the design brief. And so the first part, let's first imagine that it's the year 2057, and the way we travel has changed. And so the client that we're going to be talking about in this case is National Transportation and Safety Board. So this is the client. This is the answer to your first part, National Transportation and Safety Board. You would type that in, that's your client, and then you would continue to go through the rest of these slides to figure out who is the designer, what is the problem statement, constraints, and deliverables. So this slide here, or these slides will go over all of that information. It'll help you understand what you're going to do for your project, what you can and can't do within those constraints, and that is task number 2. After you do this, write down any question that you think you might still need to have answered from who are you working with? How much time? What can you do? What can't you do? What's the material? Anything that you're not sure about within this Skimmer project, just list them down right here, and we can help you answer those, but it's important to document them there. Once you do that, you're done with task number 2, and you are ready to move on to number 3.